Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the midweek edition of the Chicago Sports Podcast. We are the monsters of the Madhouse, and we got a monster guest for you guys tonight. This man was known as the human missile. He was a wrecker. This man is number 46 from the Chicago Bears. He played 8 glorious seasons on the lakefront. It is Doug Plank, and before he gets on to the show, we got something to tell you. The day before opening day, we got Doug Plank at Worth Stadium Club, at 6900 West 111th Street in Worth, Illinois. Come out, enjoy. There is limited seating, so you might want to call ahead, see if you can get some tickets. Come out, enjoy some time with Doug, watch some college football. They'll be in full swing one day ahead of our Chicago Bears taking the gridiron for the first time in 2024. Before we get into this first segment is brought to you by Bridges Scoreboard. It's your Northwest Indiana, Chicago sports headquarters with the Hall of Fame menu, the coldest beer in Chicagoland. To prep for your next Chicago sports night, visit them at bridgesscoreboard.com. They just had a magnificent autograph signing with our kicker Cario Santos this past week. They had all types of fun stuff going on. Get onto their website. I'm sure they're going to continue to have a lot of activities. We'll keep you updated as well. As we hear it, we'll deliver it to you. On top of that, on tomorrow's show, just to plan a little bit ahead, the boys will have Brendan Iambadejo in the house. So tune in tomorrow, guys. We got a couple guys in the chat right now. What's going on, Bruce? We got Plank in. We got Dustin Jones checking in. What's up, fellas? Thanks for joining us. We just gave a big shout out to Doug Plank. Again, played 8 years here in Chicago. He was a human missile. Watching his highlights. Guys, just before he pops on here, anybody that you can think of that used to murder individuals and separate the ball from wide receivers like Doug Plank did? Brian?
Oh, God. I'm just thinking of the old guys. The last one that could possibly be relevant would probably be Ed Reed. I mean, that's the biggest hitter, I guess, from the recent times. I mean, going back to that, you're thinking of what's that one guy that played for 49ers for so long?
Ronnie Lott?
Ronnie Lott. He cut his finger off. Came back in the game. Yeah, good for him.
Right.
I mean, guys like that. I mean, these guys now are just so fast, and I mean, the game just doesn't allow them to hit like that anymore.
It's very true. Kyle, who you got on your brain?
I mean, the two guys that come to mind for me, especially in recent history, would be Brian Dawkins of the Philadelphia Eagles, and then Sean Taylor, who played for the
Sean Taylor
Redskins at the time. Yeah, rest in peace. One of the best player safeties in NFL history, or secondary members in NFL history. But I mean, like Brian said, man, the game's just changed. You're just not allowed to hit guys like they used to, man. There's so many. You go back and watch those highlights, especially the '85 Bears. So many of those hits would be fines, penalties, and suspensions. Now, almost every single sack Richard Dent ever had would certainly be flagged, especially with how much they protect the quarterback. What about you, Trap? Any hard hitters you could think of?
Well, he took Dawkins away, and that was actually a guy that, if you guys remember, Devin at the Hall of Fame, he brought Dawkins up. He'd like him to get, enshrined in that. I like Rodney Harrison, little dirty. I do like Bob Sanders, and I just didn't like him in the Super Bowl. I was really mad at him. But yeah, I'm definitely a Doug Plank fan and Fensick fan. The Hitman dude. So I'm keeping it real with all that, Do
you guys remember?
Speaking of the devil.
Here, all right.
There he is.
Gentlemen, welcome to the show, Doug. How we doing today?
I'll get these glasses off. Okay, all right. Good.
How we doing today, sir?
We're doing great. Yeah.
Fantastic. As we get into this, we wanted to get your thoughts after this 4-0 preseason. The Bears defense needs to be flying around. They look really, really good here in the preseason. What are your takeaways from the 2024 preseason going into the regular season here in about 10 days?
You know what? I really have a strong belief. Looking at the first game in preseason, no way. forget it, second, third. Finally, it's the last game that they try to put a game plan together that actually is trying to beat the other team. The previous games are all about individual evaluation. So, when people say there's not a lot to do in preseason, well, it's more evaluation of individuals than it is about a team. So I always try to look at that last preseason game, and I think they played Kansas City this year. They did some really good things. Yeah, there was, so that I looked at that game mostly. I didn't get a chance to see it in person, but I watched it a couple times. And I just thought that the attitude, the execution, the performance of both the offense and the defense was impressive. And I think it gives them a chance to put the past behind them.
Doug, after this 4-0 preseason start, or even how well they played at the end of last year, do you remember a season that they had this much offense and defensive balance going into the season?
No, I don't. You know what? Other than the '85 team with Jim McMahon and Willie Gault and some other players, this whole franchise, from the day they decided to put helmets on and go out there and play football, it's been about the defense.
Yeah.
We were growing up as a young man, and I grew up in the Pittsburgh area, and they were almost a poor image of the Chicago Bears because they had no offense. There was a steel curtain even back then. They didn't call it that. They were rough and tough, factory workers out there just beating people up. Same thing with Chicago. I mean, this was a Dick Butkus town, and we're just going to take it to you every day, and that worked back in those eras, in those times. The rules were different. Everything has changed now. If you don't adopt an offensive philosophy and have a defense that can stop those wide open offenses, then you're going to lose. It's just that simple because they can score quickly. And what happens is, too, I find, having coached in the National Football League, that, the teams start to hire coaches that are around that philosophy. And what do I mean by that? Well, they're conservative. They want to run plays. And I understand with a Walter Payton, you want to run the ball. Okay, I get that. But come on, you got to throw that ball in the air. And on the flip side, you have to have a team that can defend the pass. And if you don't have that, then you're going to lose games. I mean, it's just a complete package. I think the huge opportunity now is, just in watching games over the last couple of years, I don't think the players are as aggressive as they used to be. They're a lot more athletic. They can jump high and go get balls one-handed, two fingers, whatever. But you know what? When it comes to smash mouth football, over the overall league is not what it used to be. There aren't a lot of insane, crazy people running around trying to run into each other on each and every play. That was an era that had come and gone. Now you can see everyone is using business decisions. They're running down on kickoffs or being on the other side. There's nobody out there looking for collisions anymore. Everybody's trying to avoid them at all costs, trying to extend their career, make as much money as they can before the end comes. And the end does come rather swiftly, but it's still football. And just like we saw last year, guys get hurt just, falling on the ground. They don't even have to have contact. I mean, that ground, the hardest I've ever been hit is by Mother Earth, the ground. Landing on that thing head first after you get your feet knocked out from underneath you, you're flying through the air, head first plant into the AstroTurf. I'll tell you what, it doesn't feel good. You break bones, you snap ligaments. So all that is still there. And in fact, it's more than ever because these players are bigger, stronger, and faster. So, like I said, I looked a lot at that last game against the Chiefs because, you don't want to play against one of the next to last worst teams in the league and say, oh, great, we won that last game. No, the Chiefs. I mean, everybody's going to listen to that because those guys are always trying to score. They got a great team. They've proven it over the last few years. And that game was fun to watch because
they're well coached.
Great individual efforts.
Yeah. Hey, you played in a different era, and you're with your coaching background. I feel like you're the perfect person to ask this. Well, how do you feel about the way they practice now, as far as like the training camps, lack of 2-a-days, 3-a-days, and stuff like that? Do you think that it's actually hindering these players at all, or getting them not as warm for week one?
Yes, absolutely. We as human beings, we are what our habits are.
Yeah,
And what was nice about being there with a Buddy Ryan, a Mike Ditka, practices were harder than the games. It was all out battles every single day. I mean, you didn't go out there without pads on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday because this was not any walkthrough type activity, especially early when I was in the NFL. I mean, it was just a knockdown, drag out. Having come from Ohio State, I'm already used to that. I got a coach by the name of Woody Hayes. And if you don't hit somebody, he's going to come out and hit you.
yeah.
Hit you on the side of the head with his forearm, or whatever. Push you down. Push you from the back. I remember in team meeting rooms where he would go grab the whole projector, and they weren't all electronic back then. There was big, heavy ones that projected onto a screen. He picked up the whole projector and just threw it down. Or he'd go up there and he was angry. He would just throw it through the screen where we were showing the game. So here's what I'm saying. You have to be a different individual these days. That's why I'm so glad I was, I'm trying to think how to put this into correct words. I feel like my era that I played, my temperament, personality, and attitude was perfect for that type of survival because I was trying to hit everybody I could. That just doesn't go these days. I'm gonna explode.
Yeah, that sounds like it, right?
Yeah, it does.
On the precipice of this season, which is like we said, 10 days away. What are your feelings about what you've seen out of Caleb Williams thus far in what the limited action we've seen him in?
I think he can make a difference. Honestly, I watched him a lot in college, and there was a couple games. The things didn't go very well. They weren't all offense. They weren't all his fault. Some of the teams that he went against were very artistic in terms of play calling. Very unique. The one thing that I see about the Bears, especially in this Kansas City game, it's almost like they got a brand new offensive coordinator. I know they didn't do that, but they started changing their plays immensely. And there's one thing about being a defensive player with a really strong attitude. You're like a dog going after a bone. As soon as that ball gets snapped, man, you want to go smash somebody. You want to get a receiver. At least that's the way it was when I played. And you know what? I love their misdirection. That first drive against Kansas City where they were faking handoffs and like faking end sweeps and stuff, they had that defense completely immobilized. Everybody's standing around. Where's the ball? Looking like, they're going like a windshield wiper. Going back and forth. We can't find the ball. They're scoring touchdowns. I'll tell you what, I would rather get run over and have somebody score a touchdown than have me go the wrong way, be sucked up into play action passes. Because you know what? The coach can't forgive you. He can forgive you on missing a tackle. But if you make a mental mistake, just like I learned in coaching, you're going to get that guy's whole entire body out of your facility as fast as you can. Because those errors will beat you. They will get you beat. They not only put points on the board, but from a philosophical standpoint, everybody's attitude on that field drops down several degrees. And the aggressiveness, and I'm going to go do this and do that. No, you can't even believe it now because they're faking handoffs and going reverses, and they got everything going. And against some of those teams, I'll be honest with you, Doug Plank wasn't playing like Doug Plank usually does, taking off trying to blast people. I studied film from the end zone because that's where I looked at the game. I wasn't up in the stands. I wasn't looking at it from the 50-yard line. I was on the field, and the end zone was behind me wherever the field was. And so now I'm looking at those films, or they call end zone copies, and you can get them both sides, both from behind the offense and also on the other side, the way the defense. I would study those things. After a while, you learned that the lineman would teach you what was going to be called, the way they stance, their splits, the way they sat down in their stance, where they're leaning back, leaning forward, you knew right away. If they come across that line of scrimmage, it's a run. If they don't come across, it's a pass. I don't care what they do, faking in the backfield. I can't believe watching these films, players are still getting sucked up on fake actions, which are so weak. Watch that center, those two guards. They will tell you every single time whether it's a run or a pass. Don't look at the quarterback. Don't look at the receivers. They could run that halfback option pass. We used to run with Walter Payton all the time, where he could throw the ball further than the quarterback could. He could throw it 70 yards down the field. Now, you come running up like you're going to be on a sweep. He goes and whales that ball. James Scott or somebody like that, we scored touchdowns. But you know what? We just were too plain. We needed to be more artistic, more inventive, and innovative, and started showing multiple fronts, just like Kansas City. I'll tell you, I don't know if anybody gets better at it than those guys.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Doug. The Bears obviously have a new offensive coordinator in Shane Waldron. What do you think he brings to this team from Seattle?
You know what? Here's the other thing, too. I really believe, having had a coach, because I feel like I can talk about coaches and not act like I'm criticizing them and things. Right. It's not only what you know, it's how you present the information, the facts. Mike Ditka, first day he was there, he called people out. He said, you know what? 50% of you guys aren't going to be on this football team. How about that for a wonderful welcome? Huh? Oh, great. We get a new coach. He tells us 50% of us aren't going to be here. You know what? He was right. He was right. You know what? We needed to have 50% new players because we were not a good team. And you know what? People believe, whether you like it or like all this, I love you, you love me, I don't know who you are, man, woman, or child, whatever. That stuff didn't go back then. When Mike Ditka got the Chicago Bears, he called everybody out. He said, poor effort, poor running after the football, blocking for each other. And that's a whole change of mindset. So it's not about all the players you have on your team, because if you don't have a leader that can put those guys in the right direction and motivate them, you are not going to have a good team. And I'll tell you right now, there were times in plays, sometimes players would come up to me like linemen and apologize, say, Doug, I'm sorry. I had the quarterback and I didn't get him on the ground, or I had a running back or whatever. Hey, that's when you're all in on this. This isn't a one-man show. We're all in this together.
Staying on a similar aspect of that, what's your expectations for this team? I mean, I kind of buy into the big hope thing here. So.
I didn't answer the question. My wife says, Doug, you talk too much. I love talking about football because you know what? I love looking and I'm trying to imagine what are those players thinking. I think there's plenty of talent on this team to win this division. Or how far can they go in the playoffs? You know what? The playoffs are a long ways away. We don't know how many players are either going to get injured on our team or on another team. It may be very key players on other teams that would get injured, which would change the dimensions of how successful that team might be. From what I've seen, there's plenty of talent on this team. And the only thing I guess I would have a concern about was, watching like some of the special teams and things. I'm not saying there's nothing against the coach. All I'm saying is that, you have to have effort, and you have to bring effort every single play, because every single play matters. And when you get in plays like special teams, where you get people returning kicks and the guys are all spread out across the field, I don't see many Doug Planks on the kickoff team. I don't see many Doug Planks on the kickoff return team, on the punt team. Now I know that you don't play your starters on those teams. You know what? That means if you're on those special teams, you are a maniac. You're a crazy man. You want to go hit everybody. You want to tackle everybody. You want to block everybody. And I don't see that. And I'm just saying, the teams that are really good, look at their special teams. They are awesome. They get field position. They don't give up big plays. They're in it all together. It's not a one-man show. It's not trying to fake somebody and trip them up with your. No, it's about coordination, effort, and execution. And just you do it one time, you want to go back and do it again and again and again. Almost every team I've been on, when I was on the kickoff team, I led the team in tackles. Whether it was at Ohio State, when I first got the Chicago Bears, I was a 12th round draft pick. I was on every special team. You know why? 12th round draft picks aren't very valuable. They don't have much talent. I'm not saying I had any talent. I had the talent to say, I'm going to run into you, and I don't care how big you are. That's the power of I didn't care. I gave up survival. I said, no, I'm taking this guy out. And especially, to me, I didn't run against many guys that were my size or smaller in the NFL. So it wasn't like I was going to try to take advantage of somebody. No, I was out there trying to just whack everybody I could. I figured if I knock them on the ground, they're going to be one mindful more about trying to come and attack me or try anything around me. And the more that you can just convince yourself that you're just going to give it every go, every single play of the game, it's going to make a difference. And like I said, even in this game, there were some huge special team plays, which I think really helped the Chicago Bears. So this isn't like you can't fix all this stuff. You can fix it. It's not about weightlifting. It's talking to those players and saying, you got to get on the ball here. You got to get on this team because we can't win without you. And so the weight room, this is not a bench press mistake or exercise. No, it's right up here. Let's go. I'm going to take this guy down, and he's not getting up, and I'm going to make a big lane for the returner, or I'm going to get on there and make that tackle and save the day.
Doug, what I like about you, every time you talk, you just ooze this
passion,
this awesome attitude, and every time that you talk about it, it's not about me, it's about we. It's always about the team. Yeah. It's not about Doug. You always talk about the team all the time, how everybody gives an effort, gang tackles, this, that, and it's about effort. It's not about transactions. It's about relationships, and you're talking about breathing life into guys and getting them to play harder and better and being like your brother's keeper, watching their six and making sure that you hold them accountable and not leave it up to the coach, but be there with them and help them evolve. And if there's an understudy, you're not worried about that understudy taking the job of you because you value your team over yourself and you want for that person to grow and you value that team, that person on the team and the team more than you do yourself. And that's awesome, bro. And I just wanted to say I was really excited to have you and thank you for answering the call. But my stupid computer called an Omaha Audible and started to do all kinds of fancy updates. And I was about ready to do an update on the screen and be a missile like Doug was right through it. But I didn't do that. So I was so upset. I was like, what is going on?
Guys.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And guys, this September 7th can go chop it up with Doug Plank out at Worth Stadium Club, 6900 West 111th Street in Worth, Illinois. Come out, meet the Bears legend, chop up some great football stories with them, get a nice autograph, watch some college football on that Saturday. I'm sure there'll be some great games on, and we'll move on from there. Hey, Doug, we had somebody in our comments want to ask you, what's your favorite Walter Payton memory?
Oh, hey, Doug, can I prime you a little bit?
Yeah.
Tell them. I feel like a kid right now. Tell them the story. Tell them the story, Dad. No, the one where you said you guys roomed together because your names, the Plank and Payton.
Yeah, first year. Yeah.
Where he got in the bed.
So we're in this dormitory up in Lake Forest College, and so we got everybody by offensive flank, and Walter didn't have much to say. I mean, he was very, very quiet. And then one day we come back after lunch and we're laying down in bed and stuff. He goes, "Hey Doug, you mind if I ask you a question?" I go, "No, what is it?" He goes, "Why didn't I get the Heisman Trophy winner?" He asked me that because I went to school with the only two-time Heisman Trophy winner, Archie Griffin. Archie was a good running back. He was fast. He had a heart, but he didn't have the body that Walter Payton had. And Walter was special. You know, Archie was always like, yeah. He'd cry like me, like off the field and everything. Yeah, give me the ball. You know, and he was from Columbus, Ohio. What a perfect situation, you know, to play for a university that's right in your own city. And so I said, you know what, Walter, this was after, you know, just watching him for a couple of weeks. He could do things I've never seen done. He get in the weight room. I mean, he's almost breaking the weights. Just, you know, bench press, over the head press, dumbbell cleans. You know, that thing with the machine with the, you know, leg extensions. He used to do that one-legged. And he would not only exceed the weight that was on there, he would get the barbells and dumbbells and put those on top too. It was like 300 pounds each leg. He's doing leg extensions with like it's, you know, it's a loaf of bread. I mean, I'm going, you're gonna,
A loaf of bread.
It's gonna break. Then he got out there, the dude could throw the ball. I mean, forget 50, 60, 70 yards. He had an arm like nobody else. He was probably our best quarterback. But we had to have somebody run the ball. So our offense the first few years was, you know, Walter right, Walter left, Walter would pass or a fake sweep. The same thing with watching a sweep though. If all the linemen are all dancing down the line of scrimmage instead of coming down at you and running and cutting down linebackers and tackles, you know it's a pass. They're not going to. The moment they come down that field, only one time did a lineman come downfield and they threw the ball and nobody said anything. I ran up there and tackled the guard that was downfield. And I tell the official, look at this dude. He's downfield when they're throwing a ball down the field. You know what? Absolutely right. Flag goes up, penalized. Go back 10 yards, whatever it was. The lineman downfield. But you know what? When I was in there in the 70s, don't ask me why a defensive backfield coach didn't take the time to say, guys, you know, you look at receivers, quarterbacks, and all that kind of stuff. Why don't we start looking at some linemen, you know, just so we can see run and pass. Let me go back. What was the original question? Because I'm trying to tell you the Encyclopedia Britannica here without any questions.
Your personal favorite memory of Walter Payton.
So Walter goes, why didn't I get the Heisman Trophy? I go, Walter, you deserve the trophy. I said, but you know what? There's something called the media. And Archie Griffin, we would usually be on national television 4 times a year at Ohio State. And how did we finish our year up? We were going to the Rose Bowl, the biggest Rose Bowl, the biggest viewership in the country. So that meant for all the games, we were always on regional television, 4 times national television, and then including the Rose Bowl. Everybody knew who Archie Griffin was. I'll be honest with you, I had no idea. I never heard Walter Payton until I got to Chicago. And when we had a 3-day mini camp down in Florida because our new coach, Jack Pardee, used to coach in the World Football League, and he coached one of the Florida teams. So we go down to Orlando, Florida, wherever it was. Oh my gosh, this guy came out. I'm thinking, I even tried to actually, we had helmets on, no shoulder pads or anything like that. And there was a story at Ohio State, my first day at Ohio State. We had just helmets on, no shoulder pads, just shorts and T-shirts. And one of the players came out and tackled me, or hit me, dove in my knee, tried to block me because I was on defense. And anyway, I tore cartilage and ligaments. And the second day I was at Ohio State, I was getting operated on. So you know what? I made it the vow. Nobody's coming near me ever again. They're going to be touching my legs. Well, Walter comes busting through the line of scrimmage. We're down there on a 3-day mini camp with shorts and T-shirts. Nobody else knows it's a full scrimmage. And he went and just blasted over me with a forearm. I said, okay, the game's on. It's like, you hit me, now I can hit you. That didn't go very well for me. Walter won that battle. He won that battle. You know what? And that's when I realized this guy is a stick of dynamite on 2 legs. And his ability to just explode through people was just unbelievable. And I said, Walter, you went to Jackson State. Archie went to Ohio State. I said, how many people do you think know who you are right now? And I said, not many. only the people that are alumni of your university and the ones you played against. Everybody in the country knows Archie Griffin. I said, that's it. It's a popularity contest. Now, I'm not saying it was or wasn't, but it was. Everybody can know who Archie was. And, we had winning teams, won Big Ten championships. And so I was just so impressed. After the first couple games, I realized how valuable he was to our team. And when Walter would come running through practice after that, I mean, literally, guys were just almost clapping on defense and going, Walter, keep going, man. You're the best. Keep us going, man. Score points. Keep that clock running. I wish he would have been on defense. If he would have been on defense, he would have taken my job because he could tackle. He could throw. I mean, he could do it. He could do everything. He could block. And he was truly the complete man's game football.
Well,
Doug, now that we've had a chance to see the Chicago Bears in the preseason and evaluate each player individually and the team as a total, and we've seen the 53-man roster come out today, what are your projections for the season? Where do you think the Bears' record will be this season?
Everybody's got to be lucky. Everybody's got to be fortunate too, in some of their key players don't get hurt. To me, just watching the preseason, because we were basic both in the preseason and during the season. That's all we did. Run left, run right. Throw a screen to Walter. Or something similar to that. We hardly ever mixed up double reverses, things like that. They do now. I was so impressed in that Kansas City game, and all through their preseason. I think that, they're bringing an element that's going to make the team a lot better. Can you always go out there and just run over somebody with like an early? Yeah, you can. But you know what? You get tired of doing that. It's massive effort, and you get blasted. How many times, even like some of those great runners, and I don't want to mention any names, but a lot of those guys are barely walking right now. They've got all kind of injuries, all kind of issues, blood clots, broken ribs, both knees, operated on, all kind of issues. And so, whatever sounded like a great idea back in the 70s and 80s, it wasn't a great idea. I'm glad I wasn't a running back. I suffered a lot of concussions, but you know what? That meant I was running full speed with this helmet on, and I was blasting somebody in the knee or in the thigh. Someone asked me one time, why do I put stuff on social media? And I go, well, it's for a couple of reasons. There's some things that, I'm just trying to show. I'm actually trying to position myself to get different positions than I'm currently doing right now. I was a franchisee for a long time, and but it's one thing that as far as each one of us, we got to take it like a game at a time and just try to achieve something. Walter was able to do that, I think, in a very quick period of time, establish himself, even on a very questionable team. Our first record when his rookie year was 4-10. We only won 4 games, and most of those were just because of luck of a fumble or an interception or something along those lines. We didn't really have a great team, and despite having Walter Payton on our football team, and we really weren't that good on defense because. I start looking now at all the defenses that are out there, the different I coached in the NFL and college for a while. There's so many opportunities out there to just create deception and get interceptions and get sacks instead of just lining up every single time. Oh, we're going to be 3 across the middle. Okay, there's 3 safeties in the middle. The corner's on one side, the other corner's on the other side. The strong safety takes the flat. Listen. Great teams are going to eat you alive if you keep trying to run that thing play after play after play. And that's what we just kept doing. And you know what? Until this year, I haven't really seen offensive creativity in this organization on this team. And I'm seeing it now. I'm seeing unbelievable. It's change of directions. Even like faking handoffs, like sweeps, and the quarterback bootlegging out. Hey, you know what? I'm sorry. You can run that thing as many times as possible. You're going to get 10 or 9 of those defensive players. Oh, there the ball goes. They're going to all run over there. So now you don't got to beat 12, 11 guys. You only got to beat 1 or 2. They're still back here on the backside where the quarterback ran a bootleg, or a screen pass or whatever. don't try to manhandle a team that comes into this like I always loved Nebraska because they had a weightlifting program that was like nobody else's in college football. And the last thing you want to do is smash mouth football against a team that has huge linemen, big running backs. No, you want to just try to get them tired out, misdirection. Have those linebackers chase a bunch of decoys. And you're going to end up winning games because you're going to have the right play at the right time to make that happen.
Doug, I just want to thank you one more time for coming on. And I look forward to seeing you next Saturday. And we're Stadium Club. I'm excited, man. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be live from 1 to 3. Good food, good drinks, good fun, good stories, and hanging out with Doug. But seriously, these guys, they started their own show. They've been helping me out for quite a while. So if you could ever bless them by coming on there and supporting them, I got their back 100%. They do a great job. I love their show called 4-Star Sports. But I would like to ask you a question.
Yes.
Could you please tell everybody how Mike Singletary got his nickname?
When Mike got there, really nothing's given to you, especially when Buddy Ryan was there. You almost got to fall on the sword several times before he's even going to think about calling you a name. And he was like a lot of these politicians right now. He had a name for everybody. And most of those times, those names weren't very favorable. And he would call those people names in our defensive meeting room, Buddy Ryan. And I'm so lucky. You know what? I'm not saying I did everything right, but I always did even something wrong at full speed. I might have hit the wrong guy. I might have, I was the least penalized player on the team my rookie year. Now, I love the people who go, you're a cheap shot artist and you penalize on it. No, did you know I was the least penalized player? They shut up. So let me try. Can you repeat the question one more time?
Singletary, how did he get his nickname?
So anyway, Mike came in and he was expecting the royal treatment. There was no red carpet at Lake Forest, college where we practiced. We had Buddy Ryan there. He used to be a sergeant in the Army. You ever see what a sergeant does? He gets in your face. Man, he's just screaming and yelling and spitting in your face. That's Buddy Ryan. And it didn't matter if you did anything right. It was never right to him. You always could do something else. If you hit somebody and knocked them down, you could have knocked the ball out. He always had some. Then if you knocked the ball out, you could have landed on the ball. So he wanted you to go knock the ball out, go pick it up, go run for a touchdown. Buddy, come on, it's getting real here. Well, when Singletary came in, he was on him every single day. Mike was his question, Coach, why did you say that? Why did you do that? What? Listen, coaches don't want to be questioned by players. They don't want to be interrogated. There was a period early on. Mike was a high round draft pick. And I loved Mike. Mike ultimately turned into everybody's player that he wanted to be. He just executed. He would call out plays before they even happened. But that was because of what just happened his first year. He had to swallow some pride first before he realized, hey, listen, this world is in front of me. I can be anything I want to be. All I need is to shut my mouth and quit mouthing off or lipping off like in meetings or when watching film. And Buddy used to always tell Mike Singletary, he goes, there's two kind of people I don't like in this world. That's rookies and cowards. And he didn't use the word like. He called it another verb we don't want to talk here on the show. He called out guys, man, like right in the room. And but he was a high draft pick. And you know what? And general managers don't like to see their high draft picks on the sidelines. They want to see them out there in games, whatever they're doing. Whether they're doing bad or good. Hey, listen, they're a high round draft pick. They should be in the game. So Buddy still wasn't convinced. Buddy ran the defense, but he still had a boss too, and that was general manager Jim Finks. And there was everybody. We didn't see this in for reality, but we got the impression that when Mike was coming into the game, he was still a rookie. And, the first game that he started in, Mike knew he was going to start. So on Wednesday, he notified all his aunts, uncles, cousins, relatives, nephews, nieces, girlfriends in high school. Hey, I'm going to start this game. I'm going to be the starter. So Mike Singletary had a whole section of fans and family up there at Soldier Field. And we were playing against Dan Fouts, the highest ranking offense, Air Coryell. What a bad game to pick out, I'm going to start against. And they had more trick plays than you could possibly imagine. They had personnel that were like trick or treat. You couldn't tell whether they had the ball. They would even hide the ball sometimes. And so the first play, what they do is they're not a team that goes into after a play. They don't run back to the huddle. They run to the line of scrimmage. They're getting ready to call the next play. Their whole offense, Dan Fouts knows. He knows how to call every single play in their offense at the line of scrimmage. And so they run a play, of course, a pass play. And Mike Singletary calls timeout. And he goes running off to the sideline like this, real proud. He had just called timeout. But he goes, who in the such and such called timeout? I wasn't over there, so I'm just hearing this story secondhand. And he goes, well, Coach, that was me. He goes, they didn't huddle. And Buddy said, you see that bench over there? You go sit your whatever you sit on. You go there, sit your blankety blank down on that bench, and don't get up till I tell you. And that was the only play that Mike played all day. We ran that 46 defense, beat Dan Fouts, because the week before we had been up in Detroit Lions in the Pontiac Silverdome, and Mike at that time wasn't starting. He was running plays back and forth. So he would run a play in, okay, here's the play. And then then he'd run back off the field. Then he would get another play by Buddy, and I don't know if this was like pacifying Jim Finks. I don't know. I don't know why this whole, substitution thing back and forth. Well, anyway, Mike got really excited, and that's what made him a great player, really, after a while. That's what made this great enthusiasm. He came in the huddle, and now I used to be calling the huddles plays, after the huddle came in like that. Usually Buddy would send signals. Well, now he had Mike as a stationary person, back and forth, back and forth. Problem was, when Michael came into the line into the huddle, I'm calling the plays now. I go, Mike, what did Buddy call? He goes, what do you mean about that? I said, what? He goes, believe me, I don't think I know English that well, but I'm thinking I could not decode what he was trying to tell me. This is through the whole game. You go back, I'm not sure what year this was. I think it was maybe 78 or 79, for Mike's first year. The Lions scored like 40-some points against us up at the Silver. No, they've never done that in the existence of their franchise, scored that many points. And it was because when I came back, he told me what the defense was, I turned around and I said, I have no idea. I said, play 3 deep. And pass rush, just play jet rush, which means you just run straight ahead. So now we're playing 3 deep zone, and we're rushing all of our linemen straight ahead like this. Well, the Lions, how long do you think it took them to figure this out? They were hearing all this chaos, and we were screaming each other in the huddle. What's the play? What's the play? And then this would go on for now the Lions are coming up the line up for the next play. We are running like a fire drill to every position that was on the field. Linebacker, cornerback, we're just running like this, and they're hucking the ball. You can't imagine the 40-some disaster that happened that night. And so the next week we were getting ready to play the San Diego Chargers. And Buddy said, okay, I don't care what happens. He says, we're done with the, sending plays in from the sidelines. He said, I will do it all. It's almost like our society right now where everything's, artificial intelligence, AI. But he said, you know what? Everything's going to be like, hand signals from me. And it was real simple. He just clapped and he rubbed his hand across the chest like this. I was to call the coverage in the front for every single formation, down and distance, and personnel that was in the game. No one in the National Football League had ever done this before. And when he went like this and put his hand across, I had to memorize, and later Gary Fensick had to do the same thing, coverages and fronts, with this 46 defense. And the next week, we beat Dan Faust. They had record low completions, points allowed, everything, yardage. That 46 defense ate alive the San Diego Chargers. But I can only imagine after what they must have felt like after watching the Lions game going, ho, 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 60, 70 points maybe this weekend. We're going to go kill these guys. No, nobody came on the field. Nobody left the field. We just right there just said we called this thing out. We were calling out plays, just that we knew that they were going to run. And every time they went in motion, we called another defense, another coverage. They had no idea what the heck was going on. And so I'll never forget that game. And so when people say, yeah, he was a samurai, Buddy goes, I said, Buddy, I couldn't understand one word Mike said. I said, I thought he was a samurai warrior trying to talk to me. And that's he's the samurai.
Doesn't sound
Hey,
good.
and for perspective, if I'm not mistaken, the Chargers had the number one offense that year, and Dan Bounce was having an MVP season, wasn't he?
Yeah, they had like four all pros. And Kellen Winslow was their tight end. I can't remember. They had great receivers, running backs, linemen. I mean, they were coming in ranked number one. And you know what? We smoked them. I mean, it was almost hilarious. You can imagine they're expecting a defense, with linebackers. I'm playing the middle linebacker position along with Jeff Fisher. He's on the weak side. Jeff, former coach, played from USC. They're going, oh, we're going to kill these guys. They got another joke defense here. No, we just stuffed it. We took it to them. And every time they were going in a hole, running a play, we already knew what they were going to run. But they had tendencies just like every other team. And, man, it was so much fun. As a defender, you love hitting the quarterbacks. This is one thing. Buddy didn't like quarterbacks or rookies, on top of that, or cowards. When we did interceptions, the guy with the ball was on his own. You're not going to get any blockers. Why? The other 10 guys are going to go hit the quarterback. When quarterbacks would throw interceptions against our defense, they would run off the field, or they would dive on the field and stretch their arms and legs out like this. You can't hit me. You can't hit me. Sometimes we would just run on their back. We would sit on their back. It was so embarrassing. Watch this on film. As soon as that ball was intercepted, it was like they had a nuclear bomb test, and they were going to hit the ground and spread all their limbs, and hopefully nobody was going to tramp on them or hit them. It was so much fun. It was so much fun.
Well, Doug, this has been amazing. Your passion, your energy is just off the charts. I absolutely love this. I could listen to your stories for the next 7 hours, but I don't think we have that kind of time. But before we do get out of here, one more quick reminder. We do have another meeting with Doug Plank coming up September 7th at Worth Stadium Club, 6900 West 111th Street in Worth, Illinois. Chicago Sports Podcast is the host of the show. Brandon Track will be out there, so get out there. Come take a look, come hang out with Doug. I'm sure he's going to bring this passion and energy out there as well. Doug, thank you so much. We really appreciate you being on the show today, man.
No, you guys, thank you for just even allowing me to talk. I know I talk too much, so I'm sorry.
No, you don't.
We love those stories.
We love it, Doug. We love it.
Yes.
You guys play that game without passion, excitement, enthusiasm.
Yep.
If there's anything I look at, as a coach and as an announcer now, it's did that guy on that one side of the field run to the other side? If he didn't, then he's making business decisions or just effort. You got to, whatever's inside this brain and body, you got to let it all hang out. And that's the only way I was able to do it at 5'11", 205 pounds. I mean, don't tell me I'm scaring everybody. No, it was what was inside here that I said, I am never going to let anybody take me down and or get discouraged. I mean, if I get knocked down, I kept thinking, someone's filming me right now. I jumped up off the ground right away, and I don't know. Sometimes I would just run to the sideline or run somewhere because I didn't want to be laying on the ground is that film kept rolling and rolling and rolling. You can't win with a guy that stays on the ground.
Not many Doug Planks left, man. Thanks a lot. We really appreciate you, Doug. Thank you very much.
You're
Hey,
awesome.
Doug, when I was up at Canton and I was doing the social the media, the press with the camera and everything, taking pictures, Fouts was the moderator. He was the one that called Mongo up and the whole class of 24. Fouts was, and I remember your story about hitting quarterbacks and how you didn't like quarterbacks and all that. I almost called Here Comes 46 to see if he flinched, I thought it. I'm like, this is my first time out. I don't want to get barred right away,
I later met Dan. What a human being. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I wish I was on the same team. He says, he's got so much drive and enthusiasm. And besides being a great quarterback, I just, just individuals like that. I mean, that's what's great about sports. It isn't all about tackling and blocking. It's about meeting people you never would have met in your life, whether that's coaches or not. It doesn't. Some coaches are different than others. Like I said, I've had the Woody Hayes, Mike Ditka version. That was just like, take no prisoners. We're out there for one reason, is just smash mouth. And, and there were sometimes we didn't win games, but I know our coaches were happy because we put half their team, they were all limping across the field at the end of the game. I would get players that I played with at Ohio State after the game, and if they were on offense, they're going, Doug, I thought we were friends. Why did you hit me like that? Because I can. And because if I'm going to get cut, it's not going to be because I didn't hit you. I said, I don't care. I said, so after that, I would go around before every pregame, and every player I knew from Ohio State, I go, watch out. Keep your eyes open. I might be coming after you. I warned them when I got there. And, don't you think there was people chasing me too? I mean, a lot of times during the game, people always behind me like this. Because you know what? Everybody was, if they took me out, man, they would have probably got a free television or something. It wasn't family back then. It was, free movies with a ticket, a ticket to a cinema or something, or a free dinner down at a restaurant somewhere. No, there was nothing like bounties. It was just, guys going out for a good meal, knowing that it was because they hit somebody in the game.
Yeah.
How the game has changed.
Yeah.
Yep.
A lot.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
We look forward to seeing you again, man. Thank you.
I hope so. Take care.
Yeah.
That was awesome, guys. That was pretty awesome. I can listen to those stories for months, days, hours, whatever. That was good stuff, man.
He has a great one about Mongo and his car getting repoed.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I want to ask him about that so bad. But I've already heard it.
Well, we got to have him back, and I know he's coming to see you guys, so I'm excited about that.
I actually wanted to ask him what his differences between Woody Hayes and Mike Ditka, both of them being hard-nosed coaches. I really want to get his perspective on that, because I know Woody Hayes was a beast, and Iron Mike was a beast. So that would be kind of cool to see, his perspective on those two coaches.
I wanted to ask him what he thinks about these players bitching about hundreds of millions of dollars when he was playing for $65,000 a year.
I think his salary was $45,000 when he was playing.
40 grand one year he made, and for one hit, I forgot which one it was. He told me in detail, but it was like $5,000, and he didn't even make $5,000 in a game.
Yeah, it was a special teams hit. I remember him telling us that story last time.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he got fined more.
Well, he got fined all the time, so it might have been multiple 5,000. So we just got to make sure that that's the one, because he was like, one time I think he was in the negative. That's why he started opening up Burger Kings.
Can you imagine if Doug Plank played today and he led the team in tackles as a rookie? I mean, he would be a multi-quadrillionaire. I mean, it's got to be so frustrating for those guys now to watch these contracts come out, man. It's got to be so frustrating.
I mean, they paved the way, and unfortunately, I mean, I love to say it, but the '85 Bears were the catalyst for these commercials and all these extra payments and stuff. And Jordan the first one to get that 1 year, $32 million contract that kind of set the precedent moving forward. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happened right here in Chicago that set the precedent of what moved forward.
Well, it was Otis Wilson or Wilbur Marshall who left the Bears
for Marshall
Giants for
Washington. He went to Washington.
Washington, for like a $40 million contract or something like that.
Yeah, because he felt like he was getting slighted by the endorsements that the other players were getting, And I'll be honest, the hit on Joe Ferguson is probably still my favorite hit of all time in the NFL.
Yeah, he killed that guy, dude. He killed that guy.
Snatching fools, man.
The announcer was like, he's not moving.
He's
not moving.
It wasn't the same, but that Kyler Gordon hit was it the Chiefs game? No, it was the Bills game. Was kind of very similar. I mean,
but look at the running backs he went up against. Oh my God, OJ, all these freaking dudes, unfreaking believable.
He was playing. Doug Plank was playing when Jim Brown was still in the league, wasn't he?
Yeah, Brown, and then the other from the Rams, all those guys, dude.
Was Bo Jackson there yet?
No. Bo Jackson was 87, I think, or 88.
When did Barry Sanders get drafted? When did he enter the NFL?
1990.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was 1990.
I was kind of when I was looking up on him. I was kind of surprised him and Walter Payton crossed paths. I forgot that Walter Payton was drafted that early, man.
Yeah, 75, I believe.
The Bears didn't get much attention until 85 when they won the Super Bowl. So,
what was the really big running back? I can't think of his name right now. Jeez, Pete. He gave some hits on him. What's that?
From that time, from Doug Plank's time?
Yeah. He talks about it all the time, and some of those hits on the Doug Plank's greatest hits or whatever is on that freaking running back, and I can't think of his name right now, dude. Big freaking
Allen, right?
What's that?
It wasn't Marcus Allen, right?
No.
I remember some big dude for the Chiefs, but I can't remember his name.
Oh, Christian Okoye? No, it wasn't him.
No, Christian Okoye. That guy was the Nigerian nightmare, dude. He was fun to watch.
Yeah.
Hey, Dustin, are you referring to Earl
Campbell?
Oh.
Earl Campbell.
Hey, Dustin, are you referring to Barry Sanders in '89? I believe. I believe he came in. I knew it was 89, 90 right in there.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was later because Barry Sanders was a player I actually got to watch on TV before because I was born in '88, so I didn't get to see a lot of I obviously never saw Jim Brown play. I didn't see much of Walter Payton. I mean, I was too small to remember it, but yeah, I do remember watching Barry Sanders a little bit.
My grandpa grew up right around Jim Miller, and he tells me the stories about Barry. And you know who he liked Herman Moore and he liked Barry, but you know who he could not stand? Scott Mitchell. He gets so mad at Scott Mitchell.
Really?
Man. I was like, man, my grandpa was not a fan of Scott Mitchell, bro. He's like, Barry got to run this way. Barry got to run this way. Barry got to run this way, and then take it all the way. He goes. He looked it up in the newspaper. He was like obsessed with this fact that the freaking Michigan Wolverines had a bigger offensive line than the Detroit Lions. And he said if he had that line or the Cowboys line, he would have broke all the records. That was my grandpa because he's a diehard Detroit Lion fan, So,
I mean, even if Barry Sanders would have played a little bit longer.
What's that?
Even if he would have played a little bit longer, he would have crushed all those records. He only played for 10 years?
Yeah, he didn't play. I don't know if it was 10, but it wasn't long. Yeah, it wasn't long. Right?
There's no telling with him.
But it was long for running back standards. Oh my God,
Right.
Especially back then, like you got to think in terms of how long is it, like 3 years or something they average now, Sean? And those guys who had decades of dominance, even Tomlinson, that was probably like somewhere around the cutoff, right? Maybe a die and a Falk and whatever, but after that, it was.
Emmett Smith played for like 50 years.
I know, dude. It's crazy. He went to Arizona where all the running backs go to die.
Just to break that record. Yeah.
I'll tell you on another note, did any of you guys, and I sent it to you, Kyle, just a little bit ago, just the recap from the score in your text. Did you get a chance to watch that with Jordan Love?
The Aaron Rodgers thing? Or the Jordan Love
with
thing?
Jordan Love, yeah.
With him saying he's going to own the Bears.
Yeah, did you see that today, Trax and Brian?
No.
In his press conference, he said he's going to own the Bears, and the guy goes, so you're going to be their new daddy? And he's like, yep. And I hope that Caleb Williams hears that because I think Caleb Williams can be his daddy.
Yeah.
That feminine hygiene product that smells like a summer breeze.
I'll try and find it. I've been trying to find it to share it. All I can find is the clip from the score when they talked about it today. But it's him at the press conference in training camp, and they asked him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I love playing the Bears, and I'm gonna own them." Dude, let's go. I hate that guy now.
No, Grody was like, I hope that Jaquan Brisker heard this. I hope you heard this. He's gonna be pissed.
Grody got mad, didn't he?
Yeah, Grody was mad. He's upset. Yeah.
Grody got pissed. He's like, dude, let's go. You know what? It just adds fuel to the fire. We're going to play Green Bay. We're going to light them up, man. I can't wait.
Sean, I want to give a shameless plug. We are now official an LLC, Chicago Sports Podcast. And we also did get credentials this year. At some point, if things go well with something that I've been talking about, if all that goes through, I will need somebody in my absence at Soldier Field to take over the locker room interviews, the press box, and all that. So because that would still stay, that would be a standing, what do you call it, for our podcast. It would just be like we would put in, and it would be like a set it, forget it, and then reset your credentials the following year or however you say it. But it would be like, and then if something happened, like Sean got sick or Kyle or Brian, just examples, okay? Somebody gets sick or something happens and they can no longer keep up with that Sunday regimen of all that, then you just like switch names. It still stays under the Chicago. Like Jim Miller was telling me about how this all works. So I'm just kind of like, dumbing it down.
Enjoying the ride.
Yeah. So it's cool, man. It's gonna be fun, and my coworkers are already joking, like, "Hey, dude, you want to make sure?" They're like, "Hey, eyes up here when I'm in the locker room in the shower since we're doing interviews and stuff. Eyes up here. Hey, just because you're in the locker room doesn't mean you take a shower with them and stuff." They're like, I'm like, man, you guys are beating me up, man. I'm on this high, I'm all excited that I got an email back, and they're just like beating me up, but you got to expect that from your coworkers,
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's awesome, man. It's really exciting news for Chicago Sports Podcast, dude. That's a great job. Great job. Well done.
I gotta live in Kentucky, man. That's
what you say?
What's that?
So they got to live down south, like in Kentucky or anything, because I'll have to.
Dude, that's what I feel about like Darius and the other guys that are like further away. Like this stuff's like popping off, and
like Georgia, isn't he?
Huh?
Darius is like Georgia, right?
Yeah, he could be like potentially like a season ticket holder for the Falcons, man.
Bears head down there. We'll go see Darius on the road in the Georgia Dome. If it's still called the Georgia Dome, it's probably not. But
is there a game down there this year? Are we playing them?
We're not playing Atlanta.
No, it's the AFC South and the NFC South, right?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
I'm going to that Colts game already.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Colts Falcons?
What's that?
Colts Falcons?
No, Colts Bears.
Colts. Oh, nice. Yeah. Wow, we should take a look at that game.
No, it's the NFC West.
So I'm hearing right now that we might actually have at the tailgate that you guys are potentially going to be going to meet with for the Chicago Sports Podcast. There might be a switch. So Jim was supposed to initially come with us, but there's a connection that somebody has with Jay Cuddy, so he might actually be there in place. So, but if that if that happens, then we might talk to Jim about resurfacing and coming back in the November game for the veterans when they play the Patriots, if he's available, because then that means that, because he played for the Patriots too, you know what I mean? So maybe something like that. I don't know, but we'll make sure people are there every week.
Win, man.
We'll see. As the road travels, we'll hop on the ride and see where it takes us, right?
All right, done, Sean. Sorry. I had to get that out, man. It was a lot today. Like I almost peed my pants when all the stuff was coming out. I was like, oh my god.
No, that's gonna be awesome, man. I can't wait. We're tomorrow 1 week, one week from tomorrow away from Chiefs Ravens, and that takes us, 10 days away from Bears football for real. I'm so excited. Like, just watching Hard Knocks yesterday, and Dustin touched on this on this Facebook today, just how he handled that Ian Wheeler thing. And, like, I'm not going to lie, I started getting a little emotional because I knew he was hurt, like, going into that, into the show. And I didn't know they were going to feature him in the show, but the way they did it, obviously good production. I actually got a little emotional. I feel really, really bad for Ian Wheeler. He really had some juice. And honestly, he probably makes the team, Travis Holmes. So, you know, I'm not a big fan of Velus Jones making the team. Maybe he can prove me wrong. And the other disappointment for me was Dominic Robinson. I was not really happy about Dominic Robinson. I mean, I think he had one sack in his first game of his career, and he hasn't registered another sack since. And he didn't have a good preseason. And for everything good that Ryan Poles has done, I feel like he might be holding on to some of these draft picks that he made just a bit too long. But, you know, we'll see. What do you think about that, Kyle?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Sean. I just don't see. I mean, I know that they can use Velus Jones in some creative ways, maybe like end arounds or even like the Wildcat offense, but I just don't think that's enough to keep him on the roster. And personally, I think there's a couple guys that deserve him to be on this roster above him, like the tight end who ended up taking that tight end from them. It was
Jets.
Brendan
Bates. Your boy.
That was tragic.
Yeah,
Still got Bates, right? We still got Bates.
Jets claimed him off waivers.
Yeah, the
Jets
Jets
got him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, didn't he have like the best rating for all rookie tight ends or something? Like that?
Yep. He had 6 catches for 100 yards.
Man,
I want to say something before I get this real quick, boys, because in years past, anytime somebody got like a trade or something or picked up a quarterback that I thought could be of service or useful because we had a useless quarterback at the helm, when the Tyler Heineke, did I say his name right? When he came through and it said the Chargers traded for him or signed him, whatever it was, and I was like, that is a decent guy. And it didn't even like bother me that somebody else got him. In years past, I'd have been like, dang it, we should have got him and we let him off the hook. This year, I'm just like, bro, I like my starting quarterback and I like my backup quarterback and I like my backup quarterback and I like my backup quarterback and my backup, however far it goes to 4. Like, I'm good with what we got in the hood. Like everything under the hood is good. Like, I'm not even worried about an outward, like, you know what I'm saying, Kyle? Like, it's good, man. I'm like, it didn't bother me. You know, usually it bothered me when I see a guy travel somewhere else, but I was just like, Tyler, good luck, you know?
I mean, it just speaks to
Kyle, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off earlier. Finish off, please.
No, it just speaks to the depth of this team, man. I mean, for instance, the Bears had to put Reddy Stewart on the practice squad. I mean, that guy had 2 passes defended, 2 interceptions, and a touchdown against the Chiefs. I mean, he's on our practice squad. This team is Ryan Poles has done a very good job of making sure that the foundation is there, and this is a very deep team. There's some question marks I had about the roster overall, but I think I trust Ryan Poles. I think he knows what he's doing. I feel like the Bears did keep a lot of offensive linemen on the team. It was a little. I feel like what do they have? 11 on there now.
They have 5 backup offensive linemen on the roster.
Yeah, they got 10. They got 10 offensive linemen total, and if I'm not mistaken, don't they have one on the practice squad too, Theo, or the meeting?
He's gonna be out like 6 weeks.
What'd you say?
I said we got 6 weeks, right? Ain't that what they said on Hard Knocks with that groin? Yeah. But Patrick Scales is actually on the pup list too, isn't he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so they had to pick up that one guy from Detroit. Yeah, the one thing that like Sean was touching on earlier, Ryan Poles might be holding on to these guys a little too long. I read somewhere that every pick that he's made from rounds 1 through 5 is still on this roster. It's like he hasn't cut any of them. Jones is the one that glaring thing right there. And Robinson might be the second. You know, that they probably need to go. You know, they're probably better off somewhere else. Especially he just keeps drafting guys to replace these guys that didn't hit. So, I mean, they just keep getting buried farther and farther on the depth chart. But I would have much rather had Bates on there. Especially with how many more years you going to get out of Mercedes Lewis? I mean, you got to have somebody. They got rid of the game.
Good point.
You know, Bates would have it would have really filled a need for the long
Here,
term.
I'm not gonna lie, Brian. I went on Facebook yesterday. Trax, we were actually talking about this. I really wanted Brendan Bates to stay on this team. He looked really
He did.
Here, Mercedes Lewis is what, 37, 38 years old? I mean, he's a good veteran, good leadership. I understand all that. There's a really good chance that old man could get hurt.
Right.
But dude, even like Sweeney and the other one, like they
kept Stefan Carlson on the practice squad.
The practice squad,
Yeah. Like we had a lot of good tight ends, man. They're all, So,
yeah, that's a good point, because that's what's concerning about Dominic Robinson and Velus Jones. I mean, for the past few years, their defensive ends, especially before the Montez Sweat trade, the defensive end room was not good. The wide receiver room was not great before DJ Moore got here. I mean, Velus Jones and Dominic Robinson have had every ample opportunity to take control of that starting spot. They couldn't do it. So why? I mean, I'm just confused as what Poles thinks is going to happen. Like, he thinks one day they're just going to wake up and be one of the best players in the NFL, which doesn't make sense to me. I mean, if they like Dominic Robinson that much, why are they trading for defensive end?
It's a really good question.
And starting at 53, right?
Yeah.
And
at least on the bench,
I think Jatire Carter, I don't know exactly how to pronounce his first name, but Carter, I think he would have served a better purpose than these guys that Poles got. I couldn't believe he was one of the first cuts, to be honest with you. He played a lot last year for the Bears.
I agree.
Yeah, he had like 4 starts, didn't he?
Yeah.
I
agree.
I was very surprised to see him he was one of the first 3 cuts the Bears made, and that one was a little shocking to me.
Yeah.
But trust in Poles, right, guys? I mean, he's done
That's right, man.
Yeah, he looked right. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of disappointing things, but I wouldn't consider a letdown.
So, guys, I would only say one thing about that is, like, if you grind and you show something, they'll keep you around, and they're keeping relationships more over transactions. But if you're like a total slug and you're not showing any effort and you have like a bad attitude, attendance, then they'll cut you. So I think there's something to be said for that. Not just, like, people like free agents are actually wanting to play for the Bears, man. And this whole thing with Caleb and Micah Parsons, like, he responded on his podcast. Did you guys see that?
Good.
I did not. No.
Okay, all right, sorry.
No.
We'll put it in it. Put a pin in it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just, like, he brought it up on his podcast, and then Caleb didn't ask him to do that, and he's not getting anything off of it. And it was like, I don't know if he was questioned or how it started or he let off. That all that is important, right? But at the end of the day, he said something about it, and he was just basically like giving him like this dazzling, resume of like how great Chicago has came, and the main thing is Caleb and all this and that. And I'm just like, this is the greatest edge that is in the NFL right now. And he's going to have the largest contract in the history of ever for ends. And he's talking about Chicago like, dude, seriously, like, if we get this guy, whoa.
Brian, he was talking about Ryan
Not to be the doormat anymore?
Huh?
Brian, he was talking about, you didn't see it, Brian. He was talking about Ryan Poles and what he's done here and how he's put this team together and how good Micah Parsons.
Oh, yeah.
His podcast. And I just wanted to touch on this with Dustin really quick. The only reason I like Brendan Bates is if you look at Gerald Everett's career, he's missed a lot of games. Who replaces him? Stefan Carlson? I thought Brendan Bates was a little bit better than him. And you were keeping a tight end on the practice squad. So maybe you cut Travis Homer, you keep Bates on the 53-man.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't understand what Travis Homer serves a purpose on this team. That's just me personally.
I don't either.
Straight special.
He was a late pick too. I don't get it. Yeah, we've already got enough special teams. I don't think. Yeah. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, he hasn't showed anything to me.
No. It's like Trex said. There's probably some relationship going on inside the locker room. Like, he's just a good leader, a good person.
Yeah.
And that's why they're keeping him. Unfortunately, you don't get to see that stuff. I'm sure Ryan Poles knows what he's doing. I also believe that Ryan Poles probably thought he was going to get Bates on the practice squad, but that's the danger in cutting these guys before they make it to the practice squad. They can be claimed off waivers, and there's nothing you can do about it. And obviously, the Jets were watching, and they saw something they liked. It good, at least Bates can say that Ryan Poles is the one who brought him into the NFL, and now he's got a job in New York.
Yeah. And he had all that fun on freaking HBO Knox with the Bears, and all that camaraderie and stuff. Like, he's gonna have nothing bad to say about Chicago at all, except I wish they would have retained me. That's it.
Should. Yeah.
In the whole Travis Homer thing, honestly, I don't think he makes this team if Ian Wheeler doesn't tear his MCL or ACL. I can't remember which one.
AC, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, dude, that part with Poles is like, look, man, whatever you need to talk, you need to cry. My door is always open. My phone is always on. I was just right at that second. I was like, wow, we got a freaking GM here, man. And now he's on Hard Knocks, and everybody is seeing how much he cares about this football team, his players. I just love we're not the doormat of the NFL anymore.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, and you know what? I know it's just preseason, guys, but man, Ian Wheeler looked really good. I'm so glad the Bears kept him. He looks like he's going to be a really good player. And, for being an undrafted free agent, that guy has really good patience and really good vision. And, to be honest with you, when they first brought him here, I'm like, oh, he's probably just going to be primarily a returner. But he looks like he can fill in a running back, too. I wouldn't have been upset at all if Khalil Herbert was traded or cut and the Bears kept, and Ian Wheeler never got hurt, and he was the third string running back. He looked really good in preseason. People are like, just the preseason, man. Well, that's all you can judge. All you can do is see what's put on tape, right? I don't know him. I can't watch him at what he does on the practice field.
Yeah. And there's guys like Terrell Davis, not saying that this guy's going to turn to a golden jacket, or anything like that. I'm not saying that. Stop, guys. But I will say this, though. We were talking about Jeff Saturday the other day. There is golden nuggets that you can find in undrafted and
hell yeah.
All that kind of stuff, man. All that kind of stuff.
Austin Eckler was an undrafted free agent, guys.
I love some Austin Eckler, especially fantasy football. And you glossed over that Atlanta Falcon nugget earlier, bro. With that, or no, not Falcon. Ravens in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Is that the first?
That's
dude.
The first game.
That right there is for fantasy football fans. I'm sorry.
Man.
That's fantasy all day, bro.
Hey, just wait until Friday. You got the Eagles and that team from up north that I don't like to mention their name ever on Friday in Brazil. So there's going to be a lot of fantasy players in that ball game as well.
I'm just excited to see what uniforms they're going to be wearing when neither one of them can wear green. It's like, how bad did they butcher that in the schedule makers? So I was like,
I heard
two green teams over there.
That's a good point.
I heard that that was false. I heard that was false. That they're
really?
They're going to be allowed to wear green. It's the rival fans from the soccer team that can't wear green or something like that.
Oh.
I heard they're going to be wearing green. We'll see. We'll see.
That was my only interest in watching that game.
I mean, if someone takes out a couple Packers, I wouldn't be too upset.
Hey, have you guys had any drafts yet? Because mine's coming up Saturday for Chicago Sports Podcast at 8 p.m. Have you guys had one yet? Because I kind of want to know what.
Last Saturday, I had one Friday and Sunday.
Yeah, I had one Sunday.
How are they going? What's been going on in there? What have you been seeing?
No surprises. I know I stacked Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. I can tell you that.
Wow.
But Brian, that's a keeper league. So he had Marvin Harrison as a high priority because he's going to keep him for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's a 3-year and done. It's not forever.
It's 3 years. Yeah. Now I will tell you in this league that I was in, even if it was a 2-keeper, I'm looking at the board because it's right over there. Caleb Williams went in the 4th. DJ Moore went in the 2nd. Roma Dunze went in the 7th, I think, or 8th. I can't tell if that's the 7th. I mean, they were all gone. Like, I wanted to scheme and try and get a Dunze a little bit later, and this guy's like, Roma Dunze. I'm like, oh, dude, so early.
You know what's sick?
I got Williams in the 11th.
You got Williams in the 11th?
Mike Williams?
Caleb Williams.
Oh, Caleb Williams.
Yeah, I got Caleb Williams in the 11th. I also got Aaron Rodgers, but he ain't on the Packers no more, so I don't care.
John, there's a switch, what you just did when you pointed over there about the board that you got.
Yeah.
There's a switch that Windy City Gridiron's got. A lot of other people have them. We don't, and a lot of podcasts don't. But there's a switch, and you have different cameras set up.
Yeah.
So you get different, angles and whatever. So if you point it over there, you hit this button, and next thing you know, that's what we see over there. Dude, I can't wait till we get to that. It's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
We're all going to have the switches. We're going to be like freaking Impalas, dude. Hit the switch, big boy. Yeah, it's going to be fun, man. And then you know what? We're going to get the panoramic of all his toys and all the stuff he's got in his room. Yeah, a fishbowl eye or whatever they call that,
Hey, Dustin, that was 8 beers, 2 shots, and 6 JMOs.
Wow. Yay. Did you even see the last round, bro?
It was tough. I woke up Sunday not feeling the greatest. Notorious TBG said a Doomsday win in the 8th. Yeah, I mean, I guess if that's where he's going, I got 3 drafts coming up, so I guess if I want him, I'm gonna have to jump on him a little bit earlier. I mean, especially in Chicago drafts, you know.
If those aren't keeper leagues, that's a reach, man.
I agree 100%. Trust me. I mean, I'm thinking 10th round would be the earliest
But,
I'd like to go after.
Guys,
But
how hard is it for you guys? And be honest. Be bleeding hearts. We finally got an stacked offense, right? How hard is it for you guys not to go all in on Bears players and all of that? Because they all have the same bye week, and I've done that before. Even when I wasn't a Colts fan, I was like, I got to get me some Clark, Dallas Clark. I got to get me some Marvin Harrison, some Reggie Wayne. I got to get me some Peyton Manning. And then like week 7, I was like, oh my God, who am I going to start?
That's the issue.
Rex, if there wasn't money involved and I just do fantasy for fun, I would just call my team the Bears and I would draft all of them. But if there's money involved, you got to think with your brain and not your heart, man. You got to draft a competitive team.
I think next year in scratch leagues is going to be a really good time for people to stack Bears players, and it's going to be really tough in Chicago leagues because they're going to go first picks, man. First picks. You might not have that problem in Kentucky there. Yeah.
Oh my God, you guys are relentless.
We do, but we don't.
That's good. That's good for
everybody
him.
knows where I am, what my fanage is. I should say. So everybody in that league is going to try to jump on them before I get a pick. It's my wife did that to me. The 4th round, Cole Kmet was sitting right there. It's like perfect. I got Kyle Pitts earlier. I was like, Cole Kmet don't have the same bye week as is lining out great. And she just snagged him. I mean, it was 30. I was like, come on.
Dang.
Like,
So
my wife got me.
So Brian's wife's team is Bo Nix, Tim Patrick.
That's what it is. She's got Bo Nix. She's got Javonte Williams. She's got Cortland Sutton. She's stacked.
Hey Brian, just so you know, I did take Estime. He's on my bench.
He's gonna be good. It looks even better now, don't it? Since they got P. Ryan.
Yeah. You know what? Didn't P. Ryan get signed by
Kansas City, right?
To the Chiefs, yeah.
Yeah.
Good, you guys talking about fantasy. Jake Ferguson just got his stock just went up because that tight end they drafted last year in the 2nd round, Schoonmaker, or whatever his name.
Yeah, Schumacher.
He was traded to the Chiefs.
That's pretty. Hey, all I gotta say is I've been all over Jake Ferguson, baby, and that just made me look a lot better.
Hey man, now Schumacher gets to sit and learn from Travis Kelce.
That's pretty awesome.
Damn.
And Kelsey's what, 35? He's gonna be 35 this year. He's gonna be him.
That's it.
Him and Travis and Jason, their podcast is really awesome already. Just wait until they're done, and that's like their main focus, and they're just chopping it up on their podcast. And I've been watching a lot of Amon-Ra St. Brown's podcast, and he just had David Montgomery on. He just had DJ Moore on. Him and DJ Moore together was awesome. Like awesome.
That's good.
You guys,
DJ Moore, the receiver, or the defensive back from the Bears from a few years ago?
The Bears wide receiver.
The receiver. Okay, because there was a DJ Moore that played around Johnny Knox time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember that. He kept calling him his real name, Dedison. And DJ Moore got so mad. He's like, dude, you call me Dennison one more time, I'm ending this entire thing.
Travis Kelce will be 35 in October.
35? Oh, we share a birthday, but we don't share the like of the same. Seriously, if she gets on there, I'm not watching that podcast.
She's terrible.
I'm so tired. I'm so tired. Like, I'm not a hater. I'm just like, I'm done.
It's only fitting that she's with the Chiefs because it's just full on fatigue over that
way. Hey, Brian, how many times have I told you already that my cousin lives there in Glasgow?
I don't know if you have.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that close to you or no?
Glasgow, I used to go hunting there. It's probably maybe an hour and a half, somewhere in there.
They got the mines and the caves and all that stuff. The further back you go, the colder it gets,
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You got some beautiful deer out there.
Yeah.
I love Dustin.
What's that?
I love Dustin.
Oh,
just don't say that to DJ Moore. Apparently, not a big fan of his first name.
Yeah. You guys were great. I got to head out, man, but thank you so much. You guys do a great job, and I can't wait to see Doug on your guys' show, man. I'll keep plugging you guys, man.
Yeah, Trex, thanks for that, man.
Appreciate you.
Really
Thanks for
appreciate
that.
it.
100%, man.
Anytime, dude. Are you kidding me? Like, he had a blast. You could see it all over his face. I'm like, he would kept going, but you know,
guys,
The
don't
energy, man.
don't-
It's like talking to Pete Carroll.
don't tell the other guests, man. But Doug Plank might be my favorite, man. That guy, he just oozes
He's
energy,
awesome.
and he has like
For 71?
for being a guy who had such a violent temperament and was such a
Yeah.
killing machine, and then he comes down here and he's like so full of energy and happy and excited, and it's just awesome. It's awesome to hear him talk, man.
Did you hear him say the other day, like on one of our podcasts, that he would he could go one or two plays and light somebody up? I was just like, let's go. And I believe it too.
Yeah, I believe him too, man.
Yeah.
When you have that killer mentality, I still think Michael Jordan could get 40 points in a basketball game, man. That killer mentality, that doesn't exist anymore, dude. Those guys,
Yeah.
those Doug Planks. I wasn't lying when I told him there's not many Doug Planks left. You know, he was like, I don't see these guys in special teams headhunting anymore. I'm like, Doug, those guys are gone. Those guys don't exist anymore, man.
Well, too, you get fined. You know, suspended. You get suspended these days. You know, you can't do that anymore.
Yeah, but with how much money they make, a lot of them I do believe are business decisions. I think these guys are just trying to stay as healthy as they possibly can. I mean, I don't know about you guys, man, but I love football. If I was out there, I would just be trying to kill every single person that ran across me.
Hey, we gotta plug two things really quick before close. So tomorrow, you know, this is the 40th anniversary of the '84 Cubs. So up at the Rock and Rail Fest, it's massive in this area. All of the bands, like the best car band, it's like the '80s, you know, because of the '84 Cubs, they're going to be out here. All that stuff's going on. They're going to have. I got Bobby Denier coming up, Tim Stoddard coming up,
Bobby Denier.
and Tim Stoddard, who, AKA they call him Chewbacca, and he makes me look small. And he has a lifetime. Bobby said that that's his lifetime bodyguard, and he cannot renege on that. That's his lifetime bodyguard. So whenever time he's around him, he's got to protect Bobby. And then Dan Hampton and Otis is going to be playing for Chicago 6. I'm going to be doing the what do you call it, moderator for that, and Danny Mack is going to call me out to do that. And then they're going to do a tribute to Mongo and all that kind of stuff.
When is this, Trex?
Tomorrow night at 6:30. VIP passes are $75. You know, the drinks and you know, front stage included, all that stuff. And then after that, well, it'll still be going on throughout the night, right? But I'm saying at 9:00, our boys Pinky and all them, you know, they're going to go ahead and have Brendan A. and Badagio, the special teams. Yeah, that's tomorrow night at 9:00. Lovey called him the 12th man on defense. That's what Brennan told me. That was his nickname.
He
So
was a really good player, man. He was a really good player. I liked him. And obviously, we can't forget about Doug Plank over there. We're at Stadium Club on September 6th. Get out there 1 to 3. Stay for football afterwards. Have some good drinks, cold brews. Get out there, go see Doug. He loves to chop up the stories, guys, so you'll get more live. So get out there, check it out, let him feel the love. But it does set limited seating, so maybe you want to call ahead. Can you call ahead and reserve seating or buy tickets at all?
Yeah, you can call up there, but it's like a gaming bar. So they have like the slots and all that over there, you know, and then it's a bar, and then there's sit down tables. When I had Dan Hampton up there last year, I think they packed that place with quite a bit of people. But if there's any fire marshals, we were totally legit. It's all good.
It was all good.
Above board.
Well, boys, I think we're going to wrap it up too. We got early mornings tomorrow. We chopped up everything that we could. Doug on the show.
You guys got another show coming up, or I heard there might be some changes coming up, or not yet. You guys got some more shows or something coming on?
4-Star Chicago Sports. We're definitely going to be back on the air next Monday, 7:00, same bat time, same bat channel. Look us up on Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube. We really appreciate all the support. We like to keep these two families together and growing as fast as possible so we could be like Pinky in the Brain and take over the world. So let's hopefully y'all come out and check us out on Mondays. Right after that, you can see Brandon and Dustin leave that show, come on to CSP, Chop It Up Bears here, and then obviously you could catch Kyle, Brian, and I back on Wednesdays. And as football season kicks on and more sports start happening, I think we'll start doing some more shows through the weeks. But we're still trying to figure some of those kinks out.
There'll be some more live shows with CSP. You guys obviously will have some more special guests on here. Just keep an eye out for content. Obviously you guys, after every Sunday Bears game, we'll go over, we'll review the game, so on and so forth. Just, keep your eyes on, keep your notifications on. Check us out whenever we're here, guys. We appreciate y'all. Thank you very much.
And you guys keep reminding me about those post-game shows because it's going to get busy. It's going to be wild. And I got to set it the day before or something. So we'll do it for what's a good 5:36 or something, or
a little bit later after the 3 o'clock games, but before the 7 o'clock games.
Yeah.
Or before the 7:30 game.
Get Sean a good ice bath so he's fresh and ready. And
we're gonna have to. I was thinking about that for Monday Night Football too, because when Monday Night Football starts, we got to be off and done by 7:30.
Well, actually, what time is halftime? Because if you do it right, you might actually be able to catch that in stride, and then
about 9 o'clock probably.
Yeah, 9. I think that's why I did it before, so that way you catch it right around that, and you start a little bit later, a little bit sooner. It doesn't, So I don't know. Whatever you guys want, however you guys want to do it.
We'll figure it out.
Sometimes people cycle. We've also cycled over to Tuesday and left Monday alone. So, and that's open right now. So
and we might do that if we figure, people just want to pay attention to football. Sometimes that happens. So
yeah.
Hey, we appreciate everybody in the chat. Bruce, Cliff, Bruja, Dustin, Brandon was out here, Notorious TPG, Plank in the house. All you guys, man, thank you for being here. Because
guys,
there would be no us.
Shout out to Serendipity, to Bridges Scoreboard, to River Street Tavern, to Underdog Fantasy, all of our sponsors. We appreciate everybody. We appreciate all your help. Thank you so much. B-Ride, the football guy. Nice to see you as always, man.
Worth Stadium Club, where Doug Plank's going to be at next Saturday. Yeah. Man, you guys hit that good today, man. I was like, this is the best. If you're gonna have an event, have these boys freaking light it up for you, because
you guys, Worth Stadium pays us $100 every time we show that. No.
We guys stop. Here we have Bill. Hitting the easy button.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Trax. This was awesome. Thank you, Doug Plank, number 46, the human missile. Until next week, guys. Peace, everybody. We love you guys. Thanks for being here.
All right, see ya.